Hey, Tom Bentey Media. This is Tom Bentey, and I wanted to do a recap of a podcast that I had a few weeks ago with Gemma Mcllhenny, an actor outside of Philadelphia who I know who's a part of my project called The American Benefactor. And I thought it was a really great talk that I had with Gemma because I'm just really inspired by her career and her trajectory. I mean, she's somebody who had a love for acting when she was a kid, and then life took her into a different direction. She started as a police officer in Philadelphia for I think over 16 years, and then she got back into acting later on. And I think there's a lot of people out there that really have an interest and a love for acting, and they might be older, they might be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and they want to either get back into acting or starting. And it's not out of the question. I mean, it's definitely something you can do. You can have a career later on in life. And her podcast really just taught us some things that are the best practices to go about it. And I think it's important to understand this process and how it breaks down. And the first thing that we need is to get the headshots. I think that's number one. Just go out and get headshots, put your headshots on the different acting sites, whether it be Backstage, whether it be Actors Access, whether it be casting networks. Put your headshots out there and get them done. And I would go to a professional photographer. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on headshots, but it's not out of the question to spend $600, $700, $800 on some good headshots. And make sure that they really speak to who you are as a person, who you are as an artist. And it should be a shot that looks like you, but is a good picture of you. It shouldn't be something that doesn't look like you at all. That's not going to be beneficial in the long run. So make sure your headshots are good. They look professional. They look like you, but it's just a good picture of you. It's not something that looks totally different. And then another big aspect of her journey, and I think a lot of actors' journey, is really the training. And she mentioned some good courses in her podcast. We both know James Ciccone. He runs an acting workshop, and it's really beneficial to helping people get on these big network shows, which I think is great. So find a good training, find a good acting program that really speaks to you and your needs. And I think there's two different ways to go about it. We can either do a general acting class, or we can do something that's more specific for auditioning and actually getting on network TV, which is filming in New York, filming in Philadelphia, filming in Atlanta. So if I were to go about it, I probably would start with maybe just a general acting course if I had no training previously. But ultimately, I would definitely want to get into something that's more audition oriented, because that's really what's important. That's what's going to get you on these shows, is to understand how to audition. And the basics of it really come down to just being natural, making choices that feel real and organic, and making sure that you're natural and that you're being present on screen. And that's going to help you get in the door. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And they're seeing a lot of people. So even if you're lucky enough to get the audition, they're probably seeing at least 100 other tapes. So it's hard to stand out. And a lot of times it's out of your control in terms of who they're going to take. They're seeing all different types of actors. And from what the casting directors generally say is that a lot of times it's out of your control. You might have a great audition, but they might want somebody who's taller or who's shorter or whatever. So it doesn't, so you can't be too hard on yourself. You just have to do the best work you can, put in the tape, and then move on to the next. Also, Gemma mentioned networking, right? We want to meet casting directors. We want to meet agents. We want to meet fellow actors and understand kind of their journey and see what they're going through, and see if we can help them and if they can be a part of our progress as well. And just having that community. You can feel lonely at times being an actor. You can feel like you don't know what's next and what's going to happen and how you're going to get your next job or even your next audition. And it can be very daunting and very troubling. And to having a good network of professionals that you have a good relationship with, a professional relationship with, can really help you on your journey. And then it's, once you're able to eventually get that agent, ideally through one of your contacts that and that they believe in you, and you have good headshots, and maybe you've done some some work that you could put on a reel, whether that be even if a student film or an independent film, and you could show people how you look on camera, how you act on camera, how you sound on camera. Hopefully you can get an agent, because that's going to get you the big auditions for the network television and the films, etc. So that's the process. Start with as Gemma said, right? She started out doing extra work, which can really be helpful to understand how these big productions are going down, how the process works, etc. Then maybe on backstage, maybe on Actors Access, doing independent films, or doing student films, just to, and that can be hit or miss. Sometimes you're going to get a project and you have a great director, great script, great crew, great cast, and you're going to get some really great footage that you can put on your reel. And sometimes you're going to have situations where it's not so great, and it's basically it's all for naught, but it's the experience. So even if you don't get work that you can put on your reel, it's at least you have a good experience there. And maybe, ideally you met some good people, but sometimes not, sometimes it's not the case. But as you get more developed and progress in your career, I think you can kind of see where, see what projects are worthwhile and what are not. And it doesn't have to have a big budget. Sometimes, at that stage, when you're just starting out, you just want to have a reel that you can put together. So, it doesn't have to have a big budget. It just can be, some good work, some good writing, some good directing, and good acting. And, once you have those materials, you have your headshot, you have some reels from some independent films, from some student films, and you have your materials on Actors Access, and you have a good network of people, and maybe one of those people in your network can relate you to an agent that picks you up. Then it's a matter of getting those auditions, and also just doing good work consistently, every audition, right? Not thinking too much in our heads, not being held back by our insecurities, but just doing good work and just moving on to the next one. And again, just like I said, a lot of this is out of our control. So we can't put too much pressure on ourselves. We can't be too much in our heads. We can't worry about it too much. Just do the good work and move on, and trust in the process, trust in the training that you have, and trust in faith that something's, is going to happen. And just, don't worry about it too much. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And that's how it starts. And it's just one role, and then you do a good job, and then hopefully it leads to something else. And then you do a good job, and then it'll lead to something bigger. But I just want to say, Gemma's a really great example of someone who's getting back into acting later on in life after a long career in the police force. And she's really successful, and she's doing great stuff. And I'm happy to have her as part of my project, The American Benefactor. And I think for a lot of people out there that are looking to get into acting, either something that they maybe tried when they were kids, or something that they're looking to get into, they just always had an interest in, don't be scared. Get out there, do it. There's, if you have the time, if you have the skills, and you just want to learn, and it's a great way to be a part of a community, just do it. There's so much work being filmed now, especially in New York, New Jersey, Atlanta. Why not start? And don't think of it as something that is going to be, well, I'm going to get my headshots and I'm going to put them on Actors Access. The next thing you know, I'm going to be on a network TV show. Well, that's not how it works. That's not how life works. Let's be honest. So, but if you're interested in the process and you have a love for acting and you want to start, I think it doesn't matter how old you are. I think you could do it at any age. So check out Gemma's podcast. There's a lot of great insights there, from her, growing up with Will Smith in Philadelphia, to her, all the different projects he's worked on. But I just wanted to break down for everyone just some of the tips that she shared, and some of the tips that I know. If you're looking to get into acting later on in life, you can definitely do it. Just follow the process, and it can be really rewarding, and it can definitely be a part of a really fulfilling life and a fulfilling journey. So thanks so much. I'm going to keep up with some more podcasts going forward, but thanks for listening. Please subscribe. Please give a good rating, and wishing everybody good luck and good vibes, man. Let's continue. Let's do some good stuff. Thanks a lot. See you soon.